Uh, mhm.
Right, everybody ready? We're back in session at 6:18. We're back on Zoom and ready to roll. Does anybody else? Thank you for that. Does anybody have a comment at this time? We're still on oral communications.
Sorry, I'm not very good at this. I'm gonna read off my phone. Hello, my name is Christian Pena, and this is my wife, Angela Pena. We were both born and raised and have played various roles here in the community of Selma. Our current home address is 2937 D Street. We are here today because of a negligent incident that occurred to our dog Zeus from the Second Chance Animal Shelter. This incident caused the death of our dog and significant pain and suffering, and has brought to light numerous accounts of inexcusable actions staff from the shelter has caused against the community of Selma. As of this evening, we are here to discuss what occurred to Zeus, who was just 2 years old. In the 2 years we have owned our home, we have never had any issues with any neighbor or neighborhood animals, always experienced with the friendliness of our dogs to other adults, children, babies, and multiple friends' animals. At 6 a.m. on October 9th, our dog, along with the neighbor's dogs, who has multiple code enforcements, were all out on our front yard. An altercation occurred which left all 3 dogs injured. Only Zeus was taken in for a bite quarantine, as it was assumed he was the aggressor. We cooperated and allowed officers to take Zeus in the patrol car, as the officer stated he did not appear aggressive and went with ease. Come the 9th day of his served time, October 17th, it is now understood Zeus was left unsupervised for 1 whole hour in the play yard at the shelter, per Second Chance's Facebook statement made 5 days later on October 21st. Due to the shelter leaving him alone and unsupervised, reason unknown, it has allegedly led to Zeus running away and being found Tuesday, October 19th at 5 p.m. dead on Mountain View and Academy, where a Kingsburg coach first witnessed his dead body at 10 a.m. that morning, and another Kingsburg citizen witnessing him at 3 p.m. Wednesday, October 19th, the shelter called myself at 11 a.m. to inform me that they had my dog's dead body at the shelter. The owner, Parveen, made it clear to myself, my mother-in-law, shelter kennel tech Stephen, and Jasmine Plaza that she found Zeus that morning on Dockery and Floral. She made claims Zeus had escaped the shelter Tuesday, October 18th after 3:45 p.m. While Stephen was giving us an alternate, now apparent truth statement that Zeus had escaped Monday. My wife decided to go public with what we had experienced with the shelter thus far, which gratefully to God led us to Kingsburg's animal rescue page, where it was discovered Parveen was lying and was witnessed with the individual who went back at 5 p.m. Tuesday, October 18th to scan Zeus's body for a chip. She was tagged in all of Kingsburg's posts that day, which still leaves us in question, all in question of why she lied. After meeting with PD and detectives, it is clear to us all the shelter and Parveen did not contact anyone regarding Zeus, his escape, or dead body until after we already been informed that he had been dead. PD states they are left with many questions, as we still are. We hope that the unfortunate loss that we have experienced will conduct an investigation against the staff, the owner, and their protocols. To say the least, our community, as well as Kingsbury's, relies on the shelter to save, care for, and guide our dogs either back to their families or to new loving homes. Their credibility is no longer valid. Many citizens have experienced an unjust, cruel, and unfair interaction involving the shelter staff.
Thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm Angela, and I just want to make sure the entire rest of the message is heard. So like he was finishing saying, their credibility is no longer valid. Many citizens have experienced an unjust, cruel, or unfair interaction involving the shelter's current staff. We appreciate everyone here who has heard us. We thank PD for the help they have aided us and the compassion we have received from only them as community partners, and hope to see how as a city council you can assist us too in advocating for the animals and restaffing the shelter as the community so rightfully so deserves. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and sorry for your loss.
My name is Brenda Prado. I'm from Kingsburg, and I'm the person that they were referencing as being the person that was out there the night that Zeus was found when Parveen was out there. Not sure I really want to talk publicly yet about what was said and what happened, but something needs to change and it needs to change now. This is not the first time, second time, third time. There's so many instances and I have proof of all of those that I'm aware of, and this one as well. So hopefully something will come to this and feel free to contact me for further information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, real quick. Robert Carrillo, address 1720 Aspen Street. This regarding a citation I received for the fireworks distributions. Citation number 22-10931. The reason I'm here is I'm being instructed by a lawyer to request you guys omit this citation. The citation was given, well, basically what it is regarding you guys' ordinance. Per your ordinance, any fireworks that were witnessed at any properties, that is where the fireworks citation is supposed to be applied to. If it's an adult and they're approached, they can write the citation to that adult. In this case, this citation I was given to an adult that lives at my address at a complete different property. The fire department approached, I'm going to admit it was my son, who's over 18, off of Highland Rose Avenue area, was approached, spoken to. He admitted there was 3 adults who admitted to him being one of them lighting fireworks. The fire department, which is Captain Gomez, spoke with him, so we'll be sending you a citation, or you'll have the chance to appeal it. As a student attending college, maybe they'll give you a break and help you with the fees. I received a citation under my name. My address is 1720 Aspen on the other side of town. I appealed it, and the hearing officer that's here still sustained a ticket against me. So I don't understand where in this ordinance you guys approved last year gives the fire department the right to change the ordinance as far as citating me because I'm a homeowner. Now, it's an adult that lived at my address, and that's basically it. I received a citation under my name. And the lawyer I've spoken with is ready to move forward with suing the city for harassment and the fire department. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather see the monies go toward the city. We have a clear case of basically breaking the law. That's all I've got to say. I want this thing changed. I need my name, this citation removed from my name.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
nothing to do with
Carrillo.
me.
Still have some time.
Well, I don't know if you have any questions, but I have nothing to do with this. And just because I'm a homeowner doesn't give you guys the right to citate me for someone who lit fireworks clearly across the city of Selma.
You're saying the fireworks were lit at another location
Correct. And
in the
that,
location
according to
that
the
was
ordinance, that's
cited.
where the ticket should have been applied to, and it wasn't.
in
It
the
was given to me
citation.
because I'm a homeowner.
You're asserting that wrong identity, wrong person.
No, we went to the hearing and the officer that wrote the ticket had all the information there and still insisted in giving me the ticket.
Okay, thank you for that. If ordinances are misinterpreted, is that grounds for, this might be a legal question, is that grounds for looking again at a citation, even if it's been appealed?
The mayor, the record could be reviewed. The hearing officer in the appeal should have looked at the proper application of the ordinance, but the record of that appeal could be looked at, and city staff can get back with the gentleman about that.
Okay. Have you discussed this with Mr. Carrillo before, city manager?
I have not. No.
Okay. Could you leave your name and number with the city manager, Mr. Carrillo? Okay. Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Okay.
Isaac Garza, 12511 South Mitchell Avenue. Hello, guys. I came to you guys last month about Operation Santa. I wanted to talk to the chief of police and the chief of fire to see if they could be involved in the event that we're going to be doing December 16th. What we are going to be doing is going around town, sponsoring families that are in need. I've been calling the police department and the fire department on my behalf to get to get them to help us, go around the city. We also have Foreigners Towing, who is gonna have a Santa Claus in the flatbed truck. And if you guys can, help us commute around Selma, I think we're gonna sponsor about 4 families. And all this money is gonna be coming out of pocket. Everybody with the community on News Around Selma, we have a large group. We have like 15 people in the messenger right now. We are going to start electing families by next week. You guys will see that on News Around Selma as well. And I'm just wanting to ask you guys if you guys could help us out with that. It's not going to be, an event where we stop and park and, give the gifts. We're going to be going to the locations where they live.
Mr. City Manager.
Absolutely. We can coordinate with the community group and involve our fire chief and police chief in that discussion.
Okay, and also too, we were trying to change the name because my wife Shantae had passed away in April, and we were gonna do gifts from Shantae. She passed away due to COVID, but we couldn't do that, so we're gonna keep it Operation Santa. This is gonna be our 7th annual event with all of it, and I would really like the community to get involved with that every single year.
Mr. Garza, Rose and I will be involved with that.
I appreciate you. Thank
Contact
you guys
us,
very
please.
much. Thank you
Sounds
guys.
like a great event.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, do we have anyone on Zoom? No, okay, with that, we'll bring it back and move on to the consent calendar. All items.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to direct our city manager to bring back the Salma Animal Shelter to the next city council meeting in regards to make contact with the individual and see if they can come back to us and talk to us. We are a sponsor. We're not actually the coordinator of that. They have their own, and I think that it's best that we go back and review that. So if you could, I really appreciate it. Good.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the consent calendar. All items listed under the consent calendar category are considered routine. The complete consent calendar will be enacted by one motion by roll call vote. For purposes of discussion, any council member may have an item removed from the consent calendar and made part of the regular agenda. The council can then approve the remainder of the consent calendar. Does council have an item or items they would like removed tonight from the consent calendar?
Mayor, I'd like to remove item IB.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve item 1A?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
and Mayor Robertson, yes. Okay, item 1B.
That's a check register, page 4. Just have a couple of them here. This one here, check number 80489 data path, says desktop computers, ThinkPad notebook for $12,164.35. What was that for?
Yes, Councilmember Guerra, the city staff recently purchased new desktop computers that were either outdated or we needed new ones for incoming new staff, as well as a laptop for one of our staff members.
And we have, the check number's been cut off, but it's for Nelson Properties, a refund deposit received 6/17/22 for 5,000.
Yes, Councilmember Guerra, that check number was 80509. A deposit for $5,000 had been given to the city several months ago in request for a street vacation process. And after we went through the initial research to look at vacating the portion that was being requested by the applicant, it was determined that that specific portion of the property is not owned by the city, and therefore there is nothing to vacate or to consider for vacation. And so the deposit amount that had been submitted to cover staff time should the application move forward was refunded in full.
And Okay, and then check number 80522, Selma District Chamber for parking in the park car show barbecue. And it says $800, and then there's a G for a grant.
Yes, Councilmember Guerra, I believe that's a reimbursement for expenses related to recycling activities at the event, but I will confirm, and if that is actually different, I will let the council know.
Okay, because don't they come for a fee waiver? To waive their fees?
This is not related to the special event fees. It's related to the recycling activities that Cal Recycle offers a grant for.
It does say recycle grant right after in the next line.
Oh, yes, thank you for
What does it?
pointing
Oh,
that out.
no, just part of it. Okay, recycle grant. I think that's it for me.
I've got a couple. 80458 Vortex Industries repairs to roll-up door Station 1. Chief Peterson.
Yes, Mayor, we had several of the old motors attached to the bay doors at our downtown station. They were getting up there in age and they just went out.
Got it.
We had to have repairs done.
The reason I ask, it's not a big amount. It's just there, it seems like there are always repairs to the roll-up doors.
There are, some of them
Because they
unfortunately
are-
are due to accidents, but in this instance, it was just the old
Age,
equipment.
age and obsolescence. Great, thank you. 80483, back to Chief Peterson, City of Sanger Fire Department Consulting for IGT. Does it look like this just status? Does it look like the city will be getting the return that it's gotten in the past for the intergovernmental transfer?
It does, yes.
Okay.
Things are a little bit delayed this year. However, we do anticipate the contracts coming through and the correct amounts coming in typically a little bit later than what we normally.
Okay,
But,
that's
should be
always
by-
very helpful
by
money
late
for
spring.
the city. Thank you. And then the last one, page 5, 80515, it's cut off Quinn Power Systems repairs on Manitou. What's a Manitou?
It's it's one of the repairs for the new forklift. for
Okay,
Public Works.
that's a forklift for Public Works. Okay, I was unfamiliar with Manitou. Okay, anybody else? Okay, is there a motion to approve item 1B?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson, yes. Okay, with that, we'll move on to our first regular business item of the evening. And that's going to be consideration of acceptance of public improvements for track number 5303, Valley View Phase 3 continued, and this looks pretty similar to the next agenda item. Should we take both of these at one time? Or do we need to take them one by one?
They are tied to each other, so one action on one would certainly impact the other. If the city attorney feels it appropriate, we can take both items at the same time. Staff's recommendation for action on both of these is the same.
Okay.
Usually, Mayor, the only times that councils will separate items is if you could think that there might be a challenge to an action, you might want to separate them. But in this case, it seems like the recommendation is just to table the items, so
Okay.
I think it would be fine.
Is council good with combining the both items? Okay, with that, we'll take up both items at one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Rob Terry, Deputy City Manager. So both for item number 2 and item number 3. Item number 2 is for consideration of acceptance of the public improvements for track number 5303. And item number 3 is for consideration of a condition to, an amendment to one condition of approval for that item. On October 17th, the council had voted in favor of continuing consideration of both of these items to tonight's meeting to date certain, to allow for more time to have communication with CID and both with the developer. We have met with both CID and the developer, and we are continuing those discussions. We're looking for something that's going to work for both sides. We are not there yet. And so at this time, we are recommending that council tables the item to no date certain, but to return to council when we do have consensus between the developer and CID, and the city is able to bring back an appropriate direction for you at that time. I'm happy to answer any specific questions that you may have, but
Just curious,
Brief
what was the
synopsis.
meeting like with CID when the city had it?
This is a project that goes back to the early 2000s. And so in all honesty, there's a lot of discussion between CID and the developer about what exactly certain definitions were, what actions took place at certain times. And that's what we're working right now as staff to make sure that we understand no one at the city was part of that administration at that time.
But CID and the Canales had the same people though, right? So they knew what they were talking about.
That is correct.
Got it.
But the city's working very hard to make sure that there's going to be consensus of understanding on that and that the record is going to be very clear before we bring anything back for council to take action on.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, it's Valley View, not Canales Estates. That's in question.
Oh, okay. It used to be the Canales, known as the Canales project. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I have a quick question for the attorney. I'd just like to ask, did you have time to review the the contract with CID?
I did review it last week, Councilwoman Guerra, and I did see some pertinent things that did agree with some of the communications in the letter that came from Consolidated Irrigation District.
Right.
So I think that the action of tabling the discussions is the action to take, because I think they did bring up some good points in there.
Good. Thank you.
I just want to make sure to get clarification, there is no pending like tax credits or anything that the developer is in like at risk of losing or anything like that. I mean, I'm assuming because they're in agreement with continuing, right? With the development, do you know? Was there?
They're not currently at risk of losing any items, but if this were to take a considerable amount of time, there absolutely could be those type of challenges. I don't know if I've used the term in agreement. They understand where we are and the fact that we're trying to get to a place where there's going to be consensus, and staff is working hard to make sure that we're going to achieve that with all parties.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody from the public have any input on this matter at this time? Come on up.
Jim Abbott, 1701 Dinuba. I could shed light on this deal. And being on the past council, we have dealt with CID. My advice to you, to the council on this particular issue, information is very important on both sides. CID to the council, city manager, who's ever at the table must bring back the correct information. And the attorney, I will address, you have to be there, okay? Protect the rights of the city, all right? Bottom line. I'm just gonna cut to the chase.
Council, sir.
And I know, sorry. I'm looking at the City of Selma emblem up there. No, but being in the past, dealing with CID, you want things to move forward, but at the same time, you don't want to make enemies. You want to come to the table with equal terms, fairness. And I know you guys can. I know that CID in the past, they compromised, and I know that we've compromised too. So, and I'm very confident to sit down with CID. If you guys sit down with CID, whoever the spokesman is, or have somebody in the city council being part of that meeting, maybe the information back to the council is direct. I'm not because I don't want to say, well, he said this, he said, but at least somebody in the council was there to hear the whole story from the horse's mouth. Okay, that's the caution I give you guys, because the correct information is very important for you guys up there to make that decision. You're making a decision, not just, for that developer, but also CID. Okay, we're in life, we need CID partners. They're groundwater, operational. I was up in the Capitol, believe it or not, speaking on water. I was a spokesman for the water issue with the farmers in Sacramento. So I know how important water is, and I know how important that CID is a great player in the game, and so is Cal Water, because they're technological skills. You need both. If the city to grow, you need the CID to move forward develop a groundwater percolation, for the future of our cities, not just our cities, but for the valley. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else have any input on this? Do we have anybody on the line?
Yes, hi, this is Yolanda Torres. I've been trying to raise my hand since the beginning of the meeting because I wanted to make a statement for oral communication. So I guess I'll just save it for the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Torres. We'll get back to you at the end of the
Okay.
meeting in oral communication. Sorry about that. There have been some technical difficulties tonight.
Yeah, that's okay. They're taken care of. I was just having trouble getting on just to make a statement, but that's okay. We're on track, so I'll just wait till the end of the meeting.
Thank you. That will bring the matter back to council. I just had a question for staff. Why wouldn't the city just move the road so it doesn't go touch the ditch? Does the city have an issue? I know the city wants to put in a road eventually.
The issue is about the crossing of the street. There are previous iterations of the track map that show the road not crossing the ditch.
Right.
As Deputy City Manager mentioned, we're still doing our research to find out which version of the map was approved at what point, because the project has been built out in several phases. So along the way, some of those things might have changed. So that's part of the research that we're conducting right now.
Okay. Because that might solve all the problems if it doesn't, right? If it doesn't go near the ditch, it won't have anything to do with CID and they might back off on this.
Sure. And then it becomes a matter of circulation, for the city at that point, but at least, the project can move forward.
The project
Sure.
moves
There's
forward
some
in the meantime.
compromises there.
Okay, thank you for that.
Sure.
Okay, does anyone have a motion regarding items 3 and 4 to table this matter?
Items
make-
2 and 3, Mayor.
Items 2 and 3,
Yes.
is there a motion to table items 2 and 3 to table consideration of track number 5303 with the condition amendment?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro, Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
and Mayor Robertson, yes. And we'll move on to item 4, consideration of a resolution approving a request for a fee waiver for the Selma Rotary Annual Band Parade.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Rob Terry, Deputy City Manager. This is an item that in the past I know has come to council before the event has actually taken place, with a lot of new staff in place and new parade organizers this year. As we were meeting to ensure that everything was going to be addressed appropriately, there were some items that are coming in a bit later than they typically would. This being one of them right here. In the past, the council has taken action before the event to waive fees associated with the event. In this instance, the chamber paid Rotary paid their fees ahead of time and is now looking for those items to be waived. I think it's important to notate that while they had paid their fees, they were simply done with a check, and we have the check in the safe and that has not been deposited yet. So if the council were to take action tonight to waive those fees, the check would simply be returned. So there wouldn't be an actual reimbursement that you would see on any check register in the future, because that check would simply be returned if approved by council tonight. This does take into account all of the fees that are associated with the event, which was extremely successful this year. And we've already begun to get with the group to plan for next year to ensure that all of the good things that we were able to make sure were improved upon this year are going to only be better next year. That would include a request for fee waiver items happening months before the event as well. But this does include everything from all of their special event applications, the sound permit, the street closure, The park rental fee associated with Schaefer Park, which was used this year. They do not intend to use that in the future, but it was used this year. Of course, all the barricade rentals and then the labor costs that come along with the additional labor. The Public Works Department puts in a significant amount of work both before, during, and after, right, for setup and cleanup. So all of those items are included there. The total cost is $14,541.59, and that is the amount that is being requested to be waived by Selma Rotary for the annual band festival at this time. That concludes staff's presentation. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Council have any questions for Deputy City Manager Terry? Would anyone from the public like to say anything on this item? With that, we'll bring the matter back to council. I would just like to say that it was a great continuation of the tradition in Selma, the experience of Selma of over 50 years. This event has brought people together. This community is about bringing people together. I love events like this that bring people together. They're definitely worthwhile. Niagara Kiriton is another event inflected through another tradition, but it's still Selma. And Selma's about bringing people together. We don't always have to agree, even like each other, but we need to come together and do things for the betterment of our city. And this is one event that has brought people together consistently. Is there a motion to approve the fee waiver for the Rotary Annual Band Parade?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro, Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson, yes. That will move on. Councilmember. Next one is consideration of approving a temporary moratorium on non-city sponsored pop-up events.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The item before you was placed on the agenda partially as at the request of the council following comments from the public and from council members at the last city council meeting. As you might be aware, the city has been experiencing an influx of special event permit applications for what are being referred to as pop-up events, which are essentially vendors putting up pop-ups either in city parks or on city streets, essentially to sell their goods and bring people together. The city's policies and guidelines with regard to special events did not, at the time that they were developed, contemplate pop-up events. They're relatively a new trend, especially here in Selma. And so, with some of the issues recently that have arisen with complaints from the public about streets getting shut down, unlicensed vendors being at the pop-up events, among other complaints and concerns that the city staff and the council have heard, it is a staff's recommendation at this point that the council consider placing a temporary moratorium on pop-up events that are not city-sponsored, because the city is planning on conducting a couple of upcoming special events that will include pop-up vendors in the downtown area specifically. But for any events that are not sponsored by the city staff is recommending that we put a pause on these events at least until February 6, 2023, so that staff can adequately research and meet with stakeholders, gather feedback and input about what the policies and guidelines to adequately regulate these types of events would look like. And so at that time in February, we would come back with a proposal that city staff feels confident, includes all the different perspectives and feedback from stakeholders. So that is what staff is recommending at this time, that the council approve this temporary moratorium.
Thank you. Does council have any comments on this agenda item before we take it to the public? Okay, with that, we'll go to the public for comment.
Hello and good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Jasmine Plaza and I'm the owner of Plaza & Co., a small business that I started in early 2020. I started this business as a venture into my future. Owning this business and growing it has led me to pursue my passion and study business in college. Having a small business has led me to meet having a small business has led me to meet other amazing small business owners. Small businesses are the start of someone's future. They are not just businesses. They are dreams. They are passions. Small businesses start small and are grown into established, successful businesses. Having a small business is more than just a hobby. It is someone's way of sharing their passion in a way that benefits not just themselves, but their community as well. Pop-ups are an exemplary way that these small business owners share their passion with community members. People from not just our town, but many surrounding towns have gathered and enjoyed these pop-ups so much so that they continuously ask about the next upcoming events. Selma has begun to be recognized as the place of opportunity for small businesses to expand and put their names out there by simultaneously putting Selma's name on the map. As mentioned, community members from all over come to support one another during these pop-ups, and the kinds of businesses vary from food, apparel, jewelry, crafts, and even animal treats and care. Pop-ups are an all-inclusive event that allow the fruition of not just the businesses themselves, but also the city of Selma. Placing a temporary prohibition on these events could be harmful to these businesses because for many, their businesses is a supplemental way of necessary form of income. Placing a moratorium will only direct participating small businesses to take their services elsewhere, taking their customers and along with their attraction that would normally have been brought to Selma. Small businesses are willing to work with anyone who is willing to work with us. Instead of placing a temporary hold on them, a formal protocol should be set in place that these events are planned properly and that the businesses involved can have the freedom to participate without the fear of being fined or facing any inconveniences. Please don't shut down what's moving Selma in the right direction. Don't shut down people's dreams. Don't shut down the future that young entrepreneurs are trying to build for themselves and for their community. Thank you.
Anyone else?
So I just want to know, could I get all?
We'll
that
get to everybody.
Could I get all that information on a piece of paper, like as to how we get sponsored from the city?
How you apply for a fee
Yeah,
waiver?
yeah, because I want to, no, well, not only that, I just want to know what you guys are doing in order to get these events going. Because I know that if we run an event like this for Operation Santa, it would help us out a million times. Because like I said, everything's coming out of pocket. So I just want to know exactly what we need to do to actually get on the right track to continue going forward. I mean, I understand that you guys are going to try to hold it until February, but we do need this like within a couple weeks. So I need to get
Absolutely.
something.
I'd be more than happy to meet with you and with the city manager. And
I-
we could discuss that if
I
the
would
city
deeply
manager would have
appreciate
time in your schedule in the future to meet with Mr.
Sure,
Garza.
we can meet with the organizers of the event. I think we were going to meet to discuss with the police chief and fire chief, and so we can discuss it at that time.
Great.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Mark Medina, 3761 Wright Street, in Selma, business owner, and yeah, just me. Okay, so real quick, again, having pop-ups, and it's a relatively new thing. A lot of cities do it. Fresno's done it for a long time. Visayas done it for a long time. Selma needs all the help it can get. If we're trying to regrow our city and get business in, we have to look at the positive side. A pop-up actually drives in traffic from outside of town. Not only do the vendors come in, which sound right from outside, but we also have small businesses that are home-based that actually start to go out there to grow themselves to become a brick and mortar business, as well as traffic coming from the freeway. Now, mind you, there have been some mistakes made. We've seen a pop-up show up in the middle of a residential area. Maybe not the wisest idea. And be honest, they were given the permit to do so from what I understand. I may be wrong on that, but that would have been an oversight from the city's part, not necessarily from the person applying. That being said, that shouldn't be used against all pop-ups. As a matter of fact, we actually run into another question. What defines a pop-up? And if we're just talking about city areas, what about like United Market? They're continuously having pop-ups out there, and they're not a city-owned place. They're privately operated and privately owned. So we're going to have a dual system. Now, the biggest concern from a lot of business leaders and a lot of business owners is, well, you have businesses coming in who may not have the right business license or business license at all. that's easily resolved. A small one-day fee that these people, that these pop-ups can handle, they'll likely play easily. $20, $30, that's not a lot for a lot of these pop-ups. But when you take into effect what they're paying just to be out there, it can be expensive. But it's still a lot more doable than having them pay for a full-on yearly fee that we usually have to pay for, like I pay for as a full business. So if we're going to do this, I don't think we should do it as a moratorium. Shutting it down right now around Christmas time is going to cost all our businesses money. All the brick and mortar businesses will not get that traffic coming in. It puts in jeopardy a lot of the other functions that a lot of the small organizations such as Isaac's are going to do, because what he's doing is not a pop-up. This brings up a bunch of legal concerns. We really need to think about that before we go ahead and put a pause, which I don't believe we need to. It sounds in a lot of ways that staff is recommending to take a step back because they don't want to, without saying it lightly, do the work that's needed to resolve the issue, which is not a hard issue to resolve. Small fee, making sure things are done right, making sure that the applications are reviewed correctly, can keep Selma going and keep business coming in. We need the money, we need the commerce.
Thanks for your comments.
Hi, Jackie Plaza, 2426 Chaparral Lane. I'm actually a business owner myself. I actually was motivated by seeing my little sister at 17 years old start her own business as well, along with her friends. As a kid who grew up here in Selma, there was really nothing, like you said, it's a trend that's starting. There was really nothing to go to besides the carnival and the parade. I think pop-ups are something that Selma can look forward to. The community, we're all about coming together, and honestly Selma's really good at that, is coming together for events and just things that have unfortunate events sometimes too. And I definitely think that shutting it down during this time too will definitely hurt my business as well. I'm the owner of In the Stitch. I do embroidery, so that will also jeopardize my business as a business owner, especially during the holidays. And this is around the same time like Christmas gifts, we have Thanksgiving. I definitely think that, Selma should have more events like these. I think they're super important. They do bring a lot of people together. And since my sister has thrown a bunch of pop-ups, I definitely have heard so many good things that, Selma just needs something like that and more events like these. It's just super important to bring everyone together. And I definitely think putting a pause to it, I don't know. It's said that there's going to be events in the future that are planned, but who knows if those events are going to be, exactly going to happen. We don't know that. So I just think that putting a pause to these events are going to jeopardize a lot of businesses, including mine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa Salas, 1701 Danube Avenue. I'm hearing everyone's arguments, but and I agree with some things that maybe a moratorium isn't the best thing at this time, but the city is not prepared to deal with the pop-ups either. So I understand that's why you want to put a moratorium on this, to give the city the opportunity to have guidelines in place regarding licensing, regarding county health regulations that need to be followed also. If that could be done in a smaller amount of time than February, I would like to see that happen. But again, there's so many people involved. It's not just these businesses. The majority of these businesses aren't even from Selma. I've gone to several of these pop-ups and talked to the people and got business cards and of things that they're sharing with the public. And the majority of them are not from Selma. So these people are coming and making their money, and they're taking their profits to their own communities. They're not staying behind and spending that money in our community. And you're hurting the brick and mortar businesses that are here, the people that are selling flowers. We have 2 flower shops here in Selma. So if we could find a way to make those guidelines happen in a shorter period of time, that would be beneficial to the people who are organizing the pop-ups. But I would like to see more regulation as far as the business licensing, the Fresno County Health Department, those kinds of things that are impacting people. If somebody buys food from one of these vendors and they're not certified by the Fresno County and somebody gets sick, whose fault is that? Or who do we turn to at that point? So those are regulations that should be in place. And again, I don't know how long it would take the city to bring those regulations to the public for their use, but February seems kind of like a long time to have to do that. So.
Thank you. Anyone else has a comment? Come forward.
Hello. Jose Moreno, 1413 Burnham Street, Selma, California. I'm going to start my 3 minutes with a quick little definition. The word is called gatekeeping. Gatekeeping means the activity of controlling and usually limiting general access to something. In a way, this feels similar to gatekeeping. When I read the item number, local stakeholders was the trigger word, because who are the local stakeholders that have concerns? And today you're hearing from a new generation of local stakeholders who know what they want in their community and willing to stand up for it. These community members have created a lane for business and people to come together, to buy things, to have fun. If you look at the videos on social media, it's a great community event, not sponsored by the city, not sponsored by the chamber, but out of individuals coming out of pocket to provide a good time for community members. And that's hard to do. And as Isaac has said, coming out of pocket is hard for small nonprofits and local residents. There's something missing in the city to where local community members have to do this and come out of pocket. Maybe they're not feeling represented. Maybe they feel like their needs aren't being met by the city or the community. We're seeing a lot of events that flourish in culture and food and art and music that we've never seen before. And these new pathfinders are leading the way for those events. One thing I want to touch on is the credibility of our city. It's everything when we establish ourselves to welcome these businesses in. So for us to shut them down now, it makes us feel like we're not business friendly and we're not community oriented. So I'm suggesting that we do no moratorium on this, that we work with the organizations, whatever guidelines you are setting for city-sponsored pop-ups, I would suggest showing them, leading the way, nurturing these future community leaders, and let's stop moving the goalposts for them and stop enabling gatekeeping. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marina, Marina Mares, 3761 Wright Street. And I say, don't stop the pop-ups. Selma is about bringing people together. And that's exactly what they do. They bring people together. We have these small entrepreneurs that want to do something. Everything's so expensive. They want to do something extra. They want to do it on their own. And stopping them or trying to charge them extremely lots of money is not no bueno, right? I think we should help each other. And it's not coming, the money's not coming out of the city, it's coming out of them. I think that there should be regulations. Yes, you can only have pop-ups here, not in residential areas. That is correct. But I think we should support our people. Yes, we get people from out of town. That's great, because we're bringing them in town. We're showing them what we have. And us as a city that have business, we could sell them our products as well. And if you're a business here in Selma and you're not getting your people to buy your product, maybe you need to change. Maybe you need to have specials, bring your people in. And don't be self-gated to Selma, not letting people come into your town. Also, if they're gonna sell food, they have to have a certificate. They can't just sell it just because they want to. They gotta be certified. Even if you're at home and you sell products, you gotta be certified. You can't just sell it because you want to. So I say, let's help each other. Why stop them? Don't be greedy, help everybody. It's Christmas time. Everybody needs to make a little money. Everybody needs to help each other. And putting a no on these pop-ups is no bueno. Thank you.
Hi, just kind of piggybacking off of what she just said. I think that, oh, my name is Gabriela Landon, sorry. I live here in Selma, 2610 Walnut Street. The point, like many of you said or have mentioned many times tonight, that Selma is about bringing people together. And I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing that people are coming from other towns. I mean, isn't that the point, is to like put an emphasis on community and just kind of like have people get together. And as far as local shops not making any business, they're more than welcome to create their own booths and come out to the pop-ups and kind of bring attraction for themselves. I don't think that the people in charge of pop-up should be blamed for that. And then as far as shutting the streets down, I get that it's okay for, you know, parades and like the carnival, which is, in my opinion, not the safest place for families, but that's another conversation. But for a pop-up, suddenly it's an issue. I just don't think that that's extremely fair. But yeah, I do think that putting a prohibition on this would be a bad idea because it would harm a lot of businesses, and it just wouldn't look good for the city of Selma, especially because we're becoming a place for for business opportunities. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
Jim Avila, 7201 Dinubo. Save the person for last. I like pop-ups. I'll give you a good example, guys. When I took over the Casa property as a property manager, hired by Mr. Casa, we brought out of the box, we brought the Temptations to City of Selma. City of Selma brought Temptations. Can you believe that? We got all the vendors together and we presented, we gave free hot dogs, free pony rides, free events and the reason why we did that, I talked to Mr. Casa, I said, hey, we got to showcase the shopping center. How can we showcase our city of Selma? We got to do these things. We got to be innovative. And I'm guilty of the pop-up because it happened in our property, Casa property, but it was a good event, guys. No problems, no everything with issues. We have good events and it's controlled. I have cameras, surveillance cameras on that property. And the police are very diligently patrolling it with their help. And I'm usually there making it safe. And the other issue, look at Clovis. They got pop-up tents all year. Look at their town, how well it's thriving in their event. And the people from out of sight, they're out of towners. But the idea in life, we got to showcase our community so people will come. How you gonna show your town when no one comes? Huh? You're gonna have a ghost town. You don't want to have a ghost town. And when someone says, well, people from out of town, they just come and take our money. Well, I'll give you another example. I work for a company of same work. We came in, grocery industry, we made our money and we're gone. Walmart, the same way. After a while, as soon as time, they'll be gone too. They make their money, but only time we get back, we hire people from the local industry in our communities and surrounding areas. But that's why we're in Kingsburg now. We expand the operation and move forward. And but see, that's the thing what's happening now. But this generation now, it's the thing of the future. These pop-up. In fact, I came from the Bay Area to see my boy. You're not going to believe this. In a mall, they had 80 pop-ups in behind the mall going on, and I went inside the mall. There was a lot of people inside there. Besides, it brought people into the mall. See, that tells me that innovation, the young generation, we have to look at, they're the future of our society. And we know, like me, I live in the past, learning about the future with these young generation. They teach me. I thought I knew it all, but I'm still learning from these guys. But it's important. It's a value lesson in life that we all have to learn. It's a changing of the time, guys. And this is part of the changing of the time. Thank you
Thanks for
very
your
much.
comments. Just once. We still have public comment.
1057 Mill Street, Rose Robertson. I'm just amazed that that something like this is even on the agenda. I mean, it just blows my mind. We had 19 creeps arrested by the sheriff's department for a hook operation on, these creeps that are trying to look for kids on the internet. And here we have a bunch of young kids who are trying to make a business and be productive in our community, and keeping them off of these internets and keeping them off of doing something they shouldn't be doing, drugs, there's fentanyl, and I'll say it over and over. We really should be concentrating on DUIs and all these other things that are more, something to protect our neighborhoods and our community. And we should already had a brochure here to help them all be organized on how to have a pop-up and one day be having a business here in the future in a couple years or 5 years or 10. They'd be opening one of their businesses here. And if they are from out of town, well, they're here and out of town. They got to put gas to get back home. And maybe their food wasn't there that they wanted. They're going to go eat at Sal's, McCoy's, or somewhere here. For somebody to actually say that they just get their money and leave, do we follow all 80 of them? Did you follow all 80 of them after they were done? That's a no. But I've seen the same people here that actually are at other restaurants and eating or putting gas. We were just at the pop-up ourselves. So hopefully this will continue for them so they could continue to make some revenue. During the holidays, there's a recession going on. It's pretty bad for a lot of people. And if this is their way to make a little money and it's legit, we should allow them and help them, not discourage them and punish them for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have a comment? Public at this time? Okay, we'll go to the callers on the line.
Caller, please press star 6 to unmute.
Yes. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yolanda Torres, 2266 Mitchell Avenue. Okay, so like I said at the last meeting when I called in, I think we need to set protocols into place for these pop-up events. They need food handlers cards. If they need to take out a small business license for the city for the day, then I think that would be a great idea. I also feel that we need to not allow them to have them at the residential areas because we could see how that created a lot of, just a lot of issues. But we need to be supportive of these young children trying to start a business. My daughter is one of them. She loves doing what she does. She's great at it. She meets new people when these pop-up events come up. And I'm going to be very supportive of her. If this is something that she wants to do in the future, then we need to be there as parents. We need to be there as a community, as city council members, as mayors. We need to help our youth grow. We talk about we want to have a town to give kids opportunities to do great things. This is an opportunity for these kids to do great things, to learn about business, to market themselves, to interact with other people, to find contacts that can help them in the future. So I think it's not that hard to get something into place. I don't think you should stop these pop-ups and if it's going to happen, you need to do it across the board, whether it's city organized or not. I think it's let's just be fair across the board. But I don't think we need to stop these young kids from having an opportunity to do what they love to do. It keeps them out of trouble. And they love what they're doing. And I think this is a great opportunity for our city and our members to show support for these kids. That's all I'm asking is for you to please vote no. And let's continue to work together to put things in place so we can continue to help these young kids. Thank you.
You. Next caller.
Caller, Edward, if you could please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Edward Gutierrez, 9219 McCall. So I have a question. I keep hearing about all this food handling stuff and situations, but who's monitoring them as far as trademark infringements or copyright infringements? There's a lot of people out there, posting and selling things with sports teams and Disney themes, and who's monitoring that? Are we going to allow people to have copyright and trademark infringements being sold? Because I don't think small businesses like that are being authorized to have that type of ability to recreate sports teams, designer handbags and all this stuff, to put on their merchandise to sell. That's not a business. That's kind of just copying. So, I mean, we keep hearing about food handling, but who's monitoring any trademarks or copyright infringements that are going to be out there?
Thanks for your question, Mr. Gutierrez. Do we have any other callers?
One more. Caller, if you could press *6 to unmute yourself. Caller, if you could press *6 to unmute yourself. Number 599.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear
Hello?
you.
Hi, my name is Samantha Lopez, 2314 Stillman Street. I am one of the organizers for these pop-up events. I've hosted all of my events at Lincoln Park and have had an amazing turnout every single time. I say no to shutting down pop-ups. We are supposed to be the raisin capital of the world, and we don't even have a farmer's market. These pop-ups have given families a safe place to shop and have fun, especially since COVID hit us all very hard. As far as food, I agree with food being licensed, but I speak for myself for these events. I do get an event insurance that covers both vendors and customers. So if anyone gets sick or some conflict comes up, we all will be covered. All hosts should get this event insurance. But I do agree, pop-ups should be hosted at proper locations such as parks or private locations. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other callers? Anybody else from the public before we bring the matter back to council? With that, we'll bring the matter back to council. Does anyone have any comments this time?
Well, I have some comments. I know I would say probably less than a year ago, this pop-up came up and it was brought to my attention that the person that was doing the pop-up wasn't sure, went to the city and kind of got the runaround because this might have been something new. So I know talking with the deputy city manager, everything got resolved. She had an amazing pop-up event downtown on High Street. And when I saw that, and I did see all these young entrepreneurs, business owners, I was so amazed. And I thought, this is what Selma needs. Because you kids, and I would say probably young adults now, you are the future. You're the future. And it brought so much light to our city because this is what people have been waiting for. And I know I've talked about this because I share an event that we put on, which is the Tejano Country Concert. And it's amazing. It's been amazing for the past 9 years. I mean, you're getting over 700. We had almost 1,000 2 years ago. It is an amazing event. And this is what Selma has. Selma brings people together. And yes, I've attended your pop-ups and I've spoke to people that come from out of town and they love Selma. And they're willing to come here and eat at our restaurants, gas up, stay at our hotels. So they are bringing revenue. Just because they don't live here doesn't mean that they don't want to live here. I had a person tell me they'd love to move to Selma. So we have to keep our business and keep it business friendly. That's what our community's about. We want businesses. We need more businesses. And you kids are the future. So I strongly disagree with the moratorium because I know, speaking to the deputy city manager, you made a perfect statement just on earlier's item 4. There was a mistake done by the staff because that's why we didn't get this information regarding our band festival application submitted on ample time. It happens, okay? So why are we going to punish our pop-up organizers because our staff made a mistake? They made a mistake. That's what it is. But we learn from mistakes. So let's put something together that's going to simplify how does a pop-up event have to be organized. These are the things that you need to do. A checkoff list. We talked about that. That's all we need to do. I don't feel that you guys need to wait 3 months to get this. The staff does not need 3 months. It's pretty simple. So I support you and I hope that this does not pass.
Any other comment from council members?
Yeah, point of clarification. Did staff make a mistake? City manager, deputy manager?
I believe that the comment was made about the previous item where I had stated that the request had not been made in a timely fashion and brought forward, and because the staff that we had here had never been involved in the band festival before.
Had nothing to do with a pop-up.
It had nothing to do with the pop-up event.
Okay,
no.
that's okay. Thank you for that clarification. You know, so because I'm a business owner, I understand the importance of commerce. Commerce defines business, right? So, but I also understand that I sit here as an elected official that when understaffed, tells me they need some time to make sure we have clarifications, and I support anybody that wants to sell anything. I actually help businesses and I strongly support them. But when staff comes to me and says there's regulations, and I also understand the importance of the food trade that need the certification to make sure we don't get the city hands out a license and they end up getting a liability because they didn't hand out the proper license. I understand the importance of a municipal government needing to do its due diligence to make sure we offer a good product. That doesn't mean that I am against a pop-up event. It means that I would love to make sure we cross our T's, dot our I's, and we submit a good, proper foundation for the pop-up events so we can have many and nobody ever questions what kind of permit you used. I want to make this perfectly clear. I know that it's been drawn out the last 2 months. People make it a personal venue. People know it's an election time, so they want to go and drag it here, drag it there. But in reality, what can we do to service our community members? What can we do? We can make sure we do a good policy. I'm a city council member. I don't know what my staff does every day, but I know they're understaffed. So what do? I take their recommendation. And if their recommendation is to give us some time to get the policy, now granted, give us some time to get the policy in order to make sure we have a good foundation, then I'm not saying no to pop-up events. I'm saying I need time, or our city staff needs time to get this policy. If they get it done a month or 2, then that's fine. But to say that because I am in agreement with our staff to say that we're not for pop-up events, and I'm actually a brick and mortar myself. When events come to our town, I've done the analysis, and I've learned that when people come to our town, we get revenue. But you need to understand that also, we don't just sit here on the council to go and say, oh, yes, let's do it. We have our staff. Our staff tells us, hey, you know what? The last event, it didn't go so well. Publicly, it didn't go so well. We need some time to get the policies in order to make sure it goes off. Sometimes you don't, sometimes the reflection or the assumption of someone saying, hey, we need to get these policies in order now blows up and, oh, they're not for it. They're not for it. No, it's that, you know what? It's good time that the city of Selma starts setting policies that can adhere to events that are in our community that will not get questioned or go back and forth. I apologize, but I feel that if our city staff, the people that are working in our city hall are asking for recommendation to give them some time, I'm for that. I'm not saying, does that mean that John Trail is not for pop-up events? I have a business in downtown. I'm probably one of the only restaurants in downtown that is invested, employs 12 people on a daily fashion. I have a restaurant. So do I care about pop-ups? Yes, I do. But I want to make sure that you have the policies in place so you don't ever have a problem. That's a difference between just saying, oh, we need a pop-up. Yeah, let's do the pop-up. If our staff is asking for some time, I good and willing will give them the time. But I want every one of you guys out there to know it's not a political event. We're not doing this. We need to make sure that we set the policies in place so you become a profitable business. I started off at 23 years old, my first business, and I know how it is. So I'm just saying it, and I strongly appreciate every one of you guys out there that are pushing for small businesses, because that's what I was at one time. So I want you guys to know that that's where I stand. I'm sticking to it because of the fact that I respect and I acknowledge my staff asking for time to make sure that they cross their T's, contact the health department, contact whoever they got to contact to make sure that everybody's in good place. So when you walk to the city hall, you get a packet and you have no questions. That's the best I can do for you as an elected official. That's the best I can do to make sure. And now if our staff drops the ball, you call us and that's when we can react. Thank you.
Any other comments from council members?
Yes. So I wanted, I don't know if you have a copy of this staff report, but I wanted to read just the second to the last or the last paragraph. It says, during this time, staff will continue to meet with community members and stakeholders to ensure that they are given the opportunity to provide feedback as the city develops updated policies and guidelines. Just like Councilmember Trujillo said, and I know because I've looked at, we have a really thick book that talks about all these fees. And there was an analysis that was done. And I think the last analysis that was done was probably like 15 years ago or something like that. So do we need to go back and revise it? Yes, we do. Because in that big binder, it talks about all the application fees, every single one of them. Because these are new things, and actually they're not really new, they're just called different because before they were called vendor fairs. And so now they're called pop-ups because it sounds a little bit more hip and more, and I commend you guys because I have actually participated in pop-up events because I did have a little side business. And so I know it takes time, it takes energy, it takes money to go out to all the different communities, and you're constantly having to keep track of where all these things are at. So this is a great opportunity for, products that are, whether we make them or whether we're in a different type of a business, that's not a brick and mortar. I understand I've been there, I've done that. I've started working when I was 14 years old. So I know the eagerness of being young and making that extra money and all of that. But this, again, that sentence or that little paragraph that I wrote, it's not necessarily saying, no, we don't want pop-ups. And again, I'm not saying, no, I don't want them. We had an amazing vendor event at our fashion show. It was indoors. We did have, a great event. We had a lot of great vendors that came out, a lot of great stuff that was out there. But again, it's appropriate place, appropriate time. But we also need to follow the rules. And we have to make sure that we have the checklist so that we can cross our T's and dot our I's and make sure that everyone is being treated the same. whether it's, this organizer or that organizer, because another thing too is that how is it fair if someone is being approved for 5 pop-up events and another organizer is only being approved for 3? How is that fair? So it has to really be something that allows time for staff to really look at that fairness across the board. And again, making sure that we're charging the right fees, because maybe a license, a regular yearly license, and I don't know the numbers right now because like I said, it's a very thick book. But let's say a annual yearly license for a flower shop is going to be, I don't know, $500. Well, is that really fair for a pop-up event to have a $500 business license fee? No, it's not. So these are all the things that have to be looked at. You have to look at the other things you have to look at is, are these really home businesses? What are we doing? Because we have a fee application or an application fee for home businesses. The caller made a great point about trademarks, copyright infringement, public and private, like there's differences. There's, all these food vendors, there's all these different things that have to happen and have to be in place that we're not going to get it right the first time, but at least this gives the staff time to do what they have to do. And again, bring in everybody that is a stakeholder, whether you're an organizer, whether you're an actual person that's a pop-up person, whatever, let's get it right. Let's talk to other cities. Let's talk to other areas, because at the end of the day, it does involve not just, I want to see more of these because I actually, I love these events because like I said, we did have one just this weekend for a church event. And so one of the things, and you're right, they come from all out of town. Cause like I said, I used to go to different places too. And it does bring, the good crowd, or it brings, good money, good recognition to our cities. But again, we want to make sure that we get it right. So if I vote today and say, yes, let's give staff time, let's give staff time. Not that I don't want to see the pop-ups, not that I don't support your guys's business or your enthusiasm. It's again, let's get it right. So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Cho, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do. I agree that, I mean, the moratorium seems a little stiff, okay? And I was wondering, I like that idea about getting the list up. I mean, the organizer, that one on the phone was really good. She did answer a question. She had insurance that covers the liability. So basically, whoever's organizer will be the main person responsible. Oops. So, and to me, that's a good thing because they're hold responsible, okay? And the fees, if they're gonna come and to the city to sell, maybe, a minimal license for the year or something, okay, is feasible, then they already have been checked in, they've already been registered, and then they go back to your organizer. She's the one supposed to be, watching everything. To me, it's, if you're organized like that, I don't have any problem with it, okay? And, it seems like some of these organizers are pretty sharp already. And I would say, the list itself, I don't think it should take 3 months, okay? Because like I say, I've done a few events and it takes a little bit with the paperwork, but I think the list itself is pretty simple. If we can get our businesses, give them a yearly fee and just mark it down, have a form filled out. And then I say the main one is your organizers. And then if there's an organization fee or event fee, they already take care of that already, right? Because there's not, use of those are not waiver.
So what kind of timeline are you looking at, Mayor Pro Tem? For staff to review pop-ups and to come up with reasonable guidelines so that they can move forward before Christmas?
Because they like to have it by Christmas, so we only have 2 more meetings. So what do you think,
So
Deputy Mayor?
I could answer that,
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho. So just a couple of points of clarification. So the February 6th date was determined to be the most adequate date for a few different reasons. Currently, our special event application requires at least a 60-day advance application period. So if somebody was to apply today, for example, they wouldn't be able to have their event until January anyway. Secondly, we are coming up on the holiday season. And so if we're really looking to incorporate as much feedback as possible, I mean, just in this meeting tonight, we heard quite a few different perspectives from a lot of different people. I don't think that that's all of the feedback that we stand to get from the community and from other agencies. And then as Councilman Trujillo mentioned, we're severely understaffed at the moment. But because of the holiday season, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we have New Year's coming up, and then we only have one council meeting in December, one council meeting in January. And then after we gather that feedback from the community, it takes time for us to process and then bring something that's really fully baked back to council that's fair to everyone. And so really this is in the interest of fairness, because if we received an application today, like I said, they wouldn't be able to have an event until January to begin with. But at the end of the day, we want to be very, I think for the community to know, it's the staff here at City of Selma is very much in support of pop-up events, the economic development benefit that they provide. It becomes extremely difficult for us to be able to verify business licenses, food handling permits, insurance liability requirements, payment of fees, all of those things with the staff that we have. But if we do have a very formalized process, and it could be that these business license fees actually end up going down for pop-up vendors. So we want to make it fair for everyone and do a complete and thorough analysis. There's no indication from any staff member that we want to end these pop-up events. We actually want to be able to facilitate them better so that they go smoothly for the community when you do apply and when you do want to hold one of these events. So back to your question, Mayor Pro Tem Cho. So we want to make sure that we're putting quite a bit of thought with the staff that we have, with the time that we have. And if we were to bring something back in the January 17th meeting, as far as guideline and municipal code changes and fee changes, they wouldn't kick in for another 30 days after that anyway. Because of the timeline required for changes to the municipal code and for the fee structures to actually take effect. So we're looking at February anyway for these changes to take place. So we thought that this was fair for stakeholders, for staff, and for the folks that are looking to have these events, because we want to be able to facilitate these as soon as possible, because we do get great feedback from the people that attend these events.
So can I ask a question? And can I ask a question in regards to?
I think everybody should have a chance to speak. Are you done, Mayor Pro Tem Cho?
Well, I think four of us have spoken. Right?
I am spoken.
So, okay, my question is, every pop-up that come up, have they done the 60 days event waiting?
No, that's one of the things that we want to address, that the fact that staff should have enough time to be able to verify business licenses, insurance requirements, street closure requests, all those kinds of things with an adequate amount of time, because that currently has not been the case. With the event that Councilmember Guerra mentioned, the first one that we had from, I believe Ms. Plaza was the coordinator of that. We had to scramble within 2 weeks, maybe a week, Deputy City Manager, to facilitate that. And it put a lot of stress, a lot of strain on our resources. We had to drop a lot of other things to try to make that happen. And it really creates quite a bit of confusion, disorganization when we don't have the proper amount of time to be able to facilitate these events. And again, if we were receiving an application today, we have staff going on vacation. We have staff, there's just, the timing is not ideal for anyone. I mean, I don't think anybody chose this time of the year to bring this matter up, but it is where we are. And yeah, that's all I can say about that.
Good. Okay, well, so the meeting I've been at tonight has shown an overwhelming consensus not to put a moratorium on the pop-ups. That's what I've been hearing tonight. And that's what I'm responding to, and that's what I'm seeing in the community and hearing in the community, not just at this meeting. This is a representative, a good sampling of what's going on in the community, and this community is hungry for events like this and for pop-ups like this that show our spirit, that show who we are as Selma, that we can come together as a community. Just like the band festival that's over 50 years old. These are pop-ups that are less than a few months old. Let's embrace both. We can do both. And this is important, I think, tonight this is a really important moment, a turning point in our city when we either say, no, we don't understand this. This is new. If we're going to end this, you're not going to do anything. We'll get back to you in 23. Or we can say, we'll work with you and we'll try to find a timeline for this. And the busiest season, the busiest commercial part of the season is coming up, and the city will work with you. And that's what I would be for. I'm against the temporary moratorium because of the time of year. I mean, I'm sorry it's inconvenient to the city, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this is what this is about, bringing our city back to life. And the people, I think the caller Samantha Lopez mentioned, how Fowler has a farmer's market, and people are asking all the time, why doesn't Selma have a farmer's market? These are the beginnings of a farmer's market right here. And let's encourage this and let's make this grow. It's called pop-up for a reason. It's fast, it's active, it's vital, it's a verb. Pop-up is a verb. It's a current thing. It's something you probably don't want on your computer screen, but it's something that is current, and it's something that we need to embrace as a city. Do we want the young people of Selma going out and getting in street races, or do we want them preparing their product at an event which brings people from our city and from out of town? Sure, people come from out of town and then they go home, but they remember Selma. And if they do well here, they want to come back. Let's encourage them to come back. Let's encourage people to come to our town. And this is one of the ways we do it. We have a great veterans park. We have a great city. We have events that bring people here. This is another event that we can encourage, and we can start tonight by doing it. And that's why I said, Mr. Lopez, I'll meet with you. We'll go together. That's my job as a city council member. I'm the mayor, popularly elected by the people. You know why? Because I'm your representative. Because you call me and I come with you, and we meet with the staff. Not I discuss the staff's position with you. We meet with the staff. And then we all get together on the issues and come to some understanding. And so this is why I think tonight we have a great opportunity here not to put this moratorium on, and to ask staff to come up with some common sense rules, to come back. Maybe residential isn't the best place for it. Maybe it should be in other areas. Okay. But that shouldn't take 3 months. We can do that. We can come up with a timely set of guidelines for this. And in terms of the special events application having a 60-day timeline, maybe that's too long. Maybe we ought to look at the timelines. And especially for an event like this, where we've got young entrepreneurs, and we can look at the business licenses, and the organizers are the ones that take the liability on this. So there are details to iron out, but I think we need to move forward on this and not go with the moratorium. Is there we've heard from every council member. Is there a motion at this time
I'll make a motion
to?
to drop the moratorium.
I will second that. Okay, Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson, yes. Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
I'm going to go with yes.
Councilmember Trujillo.
No.
Okay. There'll be no moratorium, and I encourage staff to come up with the guidelines for these events, and we can bring this back hopefully at the next council meeting. Thank you. All right, next item is approval from the City Council of Selma to research the capacity to provide law enforcement dispatch services to the City of Parlier Police Department.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Tonight, we're asking for council's approval to further look into providing law enforcement dispatching services to the City of Parlier Police Department. Recently, the Parlor Police Department reached out to us and asked if we would be willing to provide law enforcement dispatching services to the Parlor Police Department. Currently, they are having services offered to them by the city of Coalinga. However, in I believe 5 months now, that contract will expire. And they have reached out to us to see if we'd be willing to offer them those services. We have done some very preliminary research into this and feel that we have the capacity to be able to provide that service. However, before we start getting into contracts and looking into exact dollar amounts with regards to infrastructure, if at all any is needed, we wanted to seek, at least bring this to council to seek your thoughts and approval to continue to look into that and come in with some more, hard, fast numbers and what exactly that would look like.
Thank you for that report, Chief. Does council have any comments before we go to the public? Okay, but that will bring the matter of dispatch services for the city of Parlier. Does anybody have a comment at this time?
Jim Avell, 1701 Dinuba. The plan when we built the police station, guys, was to expand our operation as far as communication, was to extend our communication, like to maybe help Parlier, maybe Reedley, Kingsburg, Fowler, and their operations. And that will provide our service, make it stronger and more reliable, and buying future products and more technology. And it'll help Selma greatly financially, in the term, because we're growing. The town is growing. So we're going to be this town, look at our population, and we got to be ahead of the game. And I thank the chief down there for his diligent for his job because he knows he's in law enforcement. He knows the pros and cons of the dispatching operation. So it's very important that we have communication through our network through the valley. And I believe that law enforcement and public safety is a big factor in our community, and that's including the fire department. I'm not missing you out here, guy. Okay, no, but it's very vital in our community, because without those how would I say, tools, we don't have a safe community. Communities won't grow. Developers won't come here. Schools won't be made. Teachers that are good teachers won't come here. And we want a safe and environmental community, and very knowledgeable and ahead of the game. And we got to be innovative, guys. Like I said, we have to be innovation of the futures here. We just can't live in the past. We got to step to the future. And this is the future, guys. We have to move forward and be smart at what we do. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Other comments? Do we have anyone on the line who would like to make a comment? Thank you. That will bring the matter back to council. Does council have any comments or questions?
I have a quick question, Chief. Just in regards to, I know you mentioned this is just preliminary and we have about they have 5 months, their contract with the Coalinga. So how do you feel in regards to our staffing for dispatch?
So Parlier's come to me some time ago, and I told them that we were not staffed properly at the moment, and I was not going to rush into a program that we didn't feel confident we could provide. Currently, we fully dispatch in our communications division, and part of this research would be looking at staffing, possibly additional staffing as well, that would be fiscally viable for us. So I feel confident that we could absolutely have the capacity to provide them a service, and beyond that, provide them a better service than they're currently receiving, which would then allow us some ability to enhance some of our other programs within the department. So I'm very excited about this opportunity, knowing that, like any opportunity, it will be a challenge. There will be learning curves. However, I feel very confident in my staff that they're going to be able to be successful with the program such as this.
Okay. And when do you think you'll have the contract in place?
So that's a discussion that I would have with the Parlier city manager. So if the council gives the go ahead to continue with those discussions, then I can meet with her and we can probably bring something back before the end of the year.
Okay. Then one last question. What does our staff look like right now in regards to dispatch?
We are fully staffed.
Great.
And then we have several temps chomping at the bit to come work overtime for us when we have vacations or sick calls or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of different things that go into this decision making, and those were part of them.
Thank you, Chief.
Anybody else with questions on this? Do we have a city manager, do we have a timeline on when those negotiations would take place? And how long it would take?
It just depends on the Parlier city manager's availability to have some more discussions. But like I mentioned, we could probably bring something back before the end of the year.
Do we have any knowledge of the current contract that they have with Coalinga? Is there the usual 30-day out for professional services, or would there be any legal considerations for getting out of that contract?
My understanding is that the notice has already been issued. And as the chief mentioned, that there's about 4 or 5 months remaining on that period before the contract terminates officially.
And who would compete with the city? It sounds like Parlier is looking for another dispatch service, whether it's Selma or somebody else. Who are the other departments that offer this service currently? And would they be competing with Selma?
I can tell you who Parlier is also discussing this matter with. To my understanding, right now we're the only ones, but either that could be inaccurate. As far as what other agencies are outfitted, I think the police chief might be able to better answer that question as far as who else could provide that service.
Currently, as always, the sheriff's department would be probably the first and foremost agency that could easily accommodate Parlier. Reedley, the city of Reedley has their own communications division. And to my knowledge, I think we're the only ones, well, other than Coalinga, obviously, but they're logistically or geographically got some distance between us. So off the top of my head, we're the only 3 cities that have our own communications. Again, other than Clovis and Fresno, I apologize. Fresno Police Department or Clovis Police Department as well.
Got it, but you don't foresee that Selma would suffer any diminishment of service as a result of providing this dispatch service to Parlier as well?
We don't believe so. Obviously, there's always that, a car wreck that 100 people call in, and then a 911 call might go to a busy, but then as someone hangs up the phone, that then frees up those lines. And we've spoken with technicians. There's no way for them to quantify it. This many calls that would happen. It's kind of one of those, you won't know until you know. But typically, when we have overloads like that, they're for big events. And what happens is we have multiple callers calling on that event, and then we are starting to deploy resources out. So, but that, is probably worst case scenario. Again, it's a very de minimis or small, a very rare instance that something like that would happen. But obviously we're looking at all those different examples or circumstances that might come up. And that's, as we look further and deeper into this, we'll be able to answer some of those questions or kind of hypothesize what could happen. That's part of what we do, is always plan A, plan B, plan C.
Because I know Selma's been on the other side where Selma has actually subcontracted out its dispatch services in the past. But is this the first time Selma would be providing dispatch services to another agency?
Correct. And in my knowledge, I don't think Selma's ever dispatched out or we have ever,
right.
The city of Selma's ever gone out for dispatching services, maybe in a tragic event, but not on a long-term basis.
Fire. Yeah.
Oh,
don't we dispatch? Do we have our own dispatch for fire?
But no, at this time, we contract with Fresno County Fire Protection.
Right, right. So I know we've gone out to other people. I haven't seen the city provide. So this is kind of, again, uncharted territory, which could be a good thing. You never
Correct.
know.
My apologies. I thought you meant law enforcement. No. Yes,
Oh,
fire
thank
does
you.
contract out. Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Any other comments? Is there a motion to move forward in scoping this capacity to provide law enforcement dispatch services to City of Parlier Police Department?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Council, we'll call the roll. Councilmember Guerra,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendoza Navarro,
Yes.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Robertson, yes. Okay, staff reports, City Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just a couple of quick items. First of all, just a reminder to the community that City Hall will be closed on Friday, November 11th in observation of Veterans Day. Also, I would like to thank our staff who attended the band parade and festival. I hear it was a great event. I was out of town for my son's soccer tournament, but thank you to Public Works for doing a lot of legwork ahead of time to clean up the parks and make our landscaping look really nice. Our fire department, our police department, our deputy city manager, who was in attendance, and our community services director, who's not here tonight, but I know put a lot of work into helping to coordinate for that event. And then last but not least, I wanted to congratulate Chief Peterson on his 22nd anniversary with the City of Selma today. He's been with us for quite a while and continues to do a great job.
Thanks for your service, Chief.
That's all I have.
Thank you. City Attorney?
City Council, really not too much to report, just working with different departments on responding to public records requests. But aside from that, nothing major to update at this point.
Thank you, David. Deputy City Manager, Developmental Services.
Nothing to report, Mayor. Thank you.
Deputy City Manager, Administrative Services. Thank you. 22nd anniversary.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Police Chief Alcaraz.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, on October 28th at 6 p.m., our support staff held a low sensory Halloween event for focusing on children with autism, which was a huge success. I think we had about 300 children come through. What we did was we used very low sensory costumes and decorations, and had the children walk through the actual police department, closing off some of our sensitive areas, and then walking around our building. And we got a lot of great feedback, but it was a great time seeing all those kids. And I'd like to thank my staff. They're not here, but they did a phenomenal job. So I'm very, very thankful that they had the energy and passion to pull off something like that. Additionally, on Thursday, November 3rd, we had a South Valley Battle of the Badges blood drive in the parking lot next to the Fire Administration Building. We had a great turnout. I won't say who donated more and which name, if it was police or fire. But it was a great turnout nonetheless. So we hope to continue to do more events like that because they're necessary, especially as we get into the holidays and illnesses and accidents and things of that nature. So these blood drives are crucial to the safety of our community. Beyond that, on Friday, October 21st, the Selma Police Department helped facilitate a probation and compliance search in the southeast Fresno County cities. That would be from Orange Cove, Parlier, Reedley, Sanger, Selma, Kingsburg, Fowler, and areas of Fresno County. We had about 60 officers that briefed here in Selma, which is where we briefed and then kicked off the event. We had a great success. We searched approximately 30 houses, made 11 arrests of people that were out of compliance, or we had also had open charges. But it was just a good way to kind of remind people that we are being mindful, especially as we go into the holidays, and that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So very proud of my staff for that. Beyond that, on Sunday, October 30th, we had a sideshow, what is called a sideshow event. Sideshow event is a large amount of vehicles that come into a city or county and basically take over an intersection and or roadways. And they are involved in reckless driving, exhibitions of speed. This has been an ongoing issue throughout the state of California for the last several years. So much so that, and I believe it was in 2018, and don't quote me on the exact year, but legislation passed vehicle code sections or legislators, I'm sorry, passed legislation which gave us a little bit bigger hammer to deal with these type of events. So I'm sure a lot of you are aware that it was on social media. These events have been going on in Fresno County for some time. Prior to the COVID, these event organizers would plan these events and advertise them on social media. Well, what happened after time is law enforcement would shut it down before it got started. So then they start using clandestine ways of communicating these events. So they're very difficult to get on the front end. That's why they'll go from city to city. So in this event, I know that shortly after leaving in Selma, they were up in Fresno off McKinley and Blackstone. And that's very, very common, especially when we're off and near the freeway. So we continue to watch for these events, work with our other local law enforcement agencies when these events happen. On this event, we actually towed a vehicle that was involved. And when we have events or vehicles and drivers that are involved in these events, we have the ability to tow that vehicle for 30 days. And we hold that vehicle for 30 days as a means to, educate these drivers that they can't be involved in these events. They're dangerous. And many people have lost their lives being struck by vehicles while they were watching. So we take these events very seriously. Additionally, we're actually looking for another vehicle that will be towing once we get our search warrant signed from a judge. So again, we're not only going to deal with it the day of the event, but we're also going to do follow-up investigations. They just take time and search warrants and getting judges to sign those. So it's not something we take lightly, and we'll do everything we can to ensure that we're mitigating those practices and that reckless behavior. Okay, and then beyond that, I apologize. I know that's a lot. I want to thank Public Works for, I know they're extremely busy, but they did a phenomenal job improving the intersection at Thompson and Lewis for the pedestrian crosswalk. What we did was we painted some red curbing and then actually repainted the crosswalk on Thompson at Lewis, where those three young ladies were unfortunately hit, and to hopefully create more visibility at that location. And then we are we are conducting some, and correct my terminology, or if it's not exactly right, some speed surveys to ensure and look at some more long-term or more permanent mitigation if possible, if the data allows us to do that. So that's something that we, again, Public Works kind of found the way to fit in their schedule very quickly, and we were able to get that done. And then we'll look at the data as it comes in to see what other mitigations we can apply if needed.
Thank you.
And that is all.
Thank you, Chief. All right, we don't have our Community Services Director with us tonight, but definitely excited about her Hula Day event that's coming up the end of November, another kind of pop-up-esque event, which is going to be happening here at the end of the month. Really excited about that in Selma. Should be very interesting. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. With that, we'll move on to council reports. Councilmember Mendoza Navarro.
Yes, we're talking about CID and the council members need to meet with them. And I actually did meet with CID. I did have a meeting with city manager and deputy city manager and Councilmember Trujillo. And I thought it was a really good event. I did, make sure that I let them know that we want to work with them and we want to have a great partnership with them, especially because, they are our source of water. And so I want to continue to have those conversations with them. And so I thought it was a really good event. And I'm glad that you guys are also talking to the developer to find a solution for that. I did attend briefly the Julissa Fuentes funeral services, and it was a beautiful event. Unfortunately, I could only stay for a little while because I did have another funeral that I was attending. The band festival, kudos to the Rotary Club, the Public Works, the Chamber of Commerce, just everyone, it was a really good event. The first thing that I noticed as soon as I walked towards the park was it was very nicely cleaned, and I mean, it just looked very presentable. After the event, I had where we were sitting, we had some people from Dinuba that were there, and the gentleman works for Visalia Public Works, and he was like, "You guys have some nice stuff here." You know, he was really complimenting us, so he was excited. And like I said, it's good to hear those type of things. You know, we talked about we want people to come in from other towns, you know, because we do have good events here at our city, and we want to continue those. But again, we want to do it the right way. I did attend the Share the Love Festival, and if you attend St. Joseph's, in the bulletin, the profit was in there. I believe it was like over right about $22,000 that was raised. So that was good, a good turnout. There was a lot of people. I helped in the water and or the water and sodas booth. And if that was any indication of how many people we had, I think we sold like 1,500 beverages just there. I mean, they still had aguas frescas and stuff, but there was a lot of people there. It was great to see the community come out. I did, the Selma Catholic Women's Club hosted, I don't know what year we're at, but we hosted our annual fashion show. And again, that was a great event. A lot of people were really excited to come out and show the support on that. We had a lot of great participants, you know, not only local retailers, but also outside retail, and also some of our pop-up vendors. You know, they also displayed some of their clothes there. So that was a good event. I wanted to just thank staff for all their hard work. And, you know, I know that you guys are working really hard to make sure that we do a good job and we do it right. And I think one of the community members said we have to be smart about what we do. Yes, we absolutely do have to be smart about what we do. And so, you know, again, there was another person that mentioned that we want to get the ordinance right, because there was a gentleman that said that he's talking to an attorney because our fireworks ordinance is not right. This is why we need the staff. This is why we need to, you know, support our staff and make sure that we're respecting their recommendations. The other thing that came to me while I'm, you know, sitting here, and we are short-staffed right now. These meetings are business meetings conducted in public, Selma business meeting conducted in public. We're short-staffed. When we're not supportive of staff, that reflects in our meetings, and that also hinders us getting good quality staff to come and work here and to come and help us. So if we're showing that we're not supporting our staff and their recommendation, then we're not going to recruit any good people. So I just wanted to say that, and you know, kudos to all of you for all your hard work, and you guys have my full support. So just wanted to make sure that I let you know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Trujillo.
I attended the band festival. Congratulations to the Rotary and the Chamber for a well event. It was put out really good. Thank you to all the staff for all the hard work for that band festival. The band festival is going through it's gone through a phase and it's growing, and I really, really, really applaud the Rotary and the Chamber for getting together and working that program. You know, the brick and mortars that are actually downtown are actually needing to get together and work hard to bring more bands, and we as business owners need to invest for our future band festivals. I think we're talking about that. We're working on that financially, because of the fact that just like pop-up events, they bring people. So we as business owners, I know, are working with the Rotary to see if we can increase that. So that, but again, I want to congratulate the Rotary and the Chamber for doing that event. I also attended the Walmart 30-year anniversary with Mayor Pro Tem Bev, thank you for taking me. That was a good event. It was actually really nice. A lot of people were there to thank the Walmart. You know, Walmart does a lot for our community and they do a lot for other communities. So I was really happy to see that there was a lot of other community members there to show support for that event because they really mean a lot to us. They donate and they give a lot to our community. So that was a good event. Again, I'd like to thank staff. They were there. The police department, fire department was there representing. I want to thank you for that. I also attended the blood drive. I gave blood. Nobody asked me who I went for, so I just gave blood. So, so they didn't ask me. So I don't know who won. Sorry, Rudy. Sorry, Chief Peterson. But in regards to the CID meeting, I was also there at the meeting. I know that Phil's watching this meeting. I thank you a lot for having this conversation with our staff. We had a meeting that was requiring bolts and we just really got into the thick of the weeds of what's occurred in the past of the city and what's occurring now. I think that communication is one of the key elements for CID and the city of Selma to move forward. And I think that the conversation we had was the beginning of something that's going to fruition. I believe that our staff's going to do the due diligence they have to do to come back and have good talks with the CID. It's a really crucial conversation because what's occurred in the past is not something good for the city of Selma. So I applaud our city staff for having those meetings and having that good conversation. And these are boring things, but these are actually the foundation of what moves our city. So Rob, I commend you for that. That was a good meeting. You went up to bat for us a couple of times in that meeting, and I thank you for that. Fernando, City Manager Fernando, I commend you also for that. But these are the kind of conversations that we're going to have to move this city. So I was happy that we had a good conversation with the CID. I welcome more meetings like that if you guys, and I'd like to get an update as I requested in that meeting, an update in the next future meetings to see where we're at and what we're doing, please. Aside of that, I'd like to just, we're moving into a crucial time tomorrow. So I like to wish everyone that's running good luck. And I'll also like to say that thank you to our community because our community, we go against each other, we go with each other, we approve each other, we don't approve each other. But at the end of the day, we all love Selma. We all love Selma in our different ways. We all want to represent Selma in a different way. But at the end of the day, what we do in our community and how we set the standards in our community is what other communities view us. So if we set good standards, they view us with good standards. If you're used to mediocrity, that's what you're going to get. So all I ask everyone to do is understand that when someone brings up something that against, it's not that they're against someone or something, it's that they have a different viewpoint. And it's also really good to have people work with each other and talk to each other versus yell at each other and fight. We don't need to fight to come to a good agreement. We just need to converse, communicate. And that's what I ask. And I thank you guys for all the time. Thank you.
You, Councilmember Guerra.
Okay. I attended the American Legion dinner. I also attended the ribbon cutting for Western Dental, which was a really great event. I attended the First Responders Appreciation Luncheon put on by American Legion, Post 12. It was a great turnout. It was great to see our first responders out there getting a great luncheon, and they're looking to do this on an annual basis. So that's going to be a great thing. I think that appreciating our first responders is very important. So kudos to the American Legion. I really appreciate them as well. I attended a special meeting for the SKF, and it was in regards to hiring the new general manager. So they're moving forward with that, and we should have a new general manager before or by the end of, by January. So also attended the Measure C ribbon cutting, which was a great event. That's going to be very, very exciting for the city of Selma. And also it includes the city of Fowler and city of Kingsburg. And we're really, really excited because this has been waiting for, we've been waiting for the past 10 years for this. And it's really going to improve Golden State. So that's going to be very big for the city of Selma. Also, I participated in the band festival, which was a great event. And then I served at the, I served at the cafe, Christian Cafe for the people there. And that was always very, very sentimental to me because we do that on behalf of my father and my brother. So that's an event that we put on or we do for them quarterly, 4 times a year. So that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Cho.
First of all, yes, I like to thank the staff. We appreciate you a lot. You guys, I know, working super hard, doing double jobs and et cetera, but we do appreciate that. Thank you so much. I did attend a few things, amazingly, there's 9 things here this last 2 weeks. I'll go fast. Chamber mixer, we went to the RPS. Next one is going to be next week's going to be Martin's Jewelry. Usually he has a very good raffle gift. If you guys show up, we put your card in. Usually it's a diamond earring or something, so your wife will love it if you guys go, okay, next week. I did a cleanup with Leslie Nelson. She's in charge of it. Once a month we go, she picks a location and we walk around town and we just clean up the garbage. And so it's a good job. It's in about an hour, but you know, I had a good time with it. Okay. Then I attended a Reedley Lions Club. They had 100 years anniversary. So that means that club's been around for 100 years. My Lions Club is only 20 years. So we're just like a little bit older than teenagers. So we got a long ways to go. And I want to thank the community so much for supporting us on our Chili Verde fundraiser. We sold 525 plates. So it was really, really a good event. Thank you so much. I did the ribbon cutting also, Western Dental, walked to the parade, attended the ground breaking of the Golden State Corridor. It was Fowler to Kingsburg, 14 miles. Whole cost would be about 47 million bucks to finish. Okay. Our Lions Club did the Christian Cafe this last week also. Attended at Walmart 30 years celebration anniversary. There's 13 people that's still working there that started from day one. So that was they were all there showcasing them. Okay, so that's it.
Thank you. I attended the groundbreaking for the Golden State Corridor project, as the Mayor Pro Tem indicated. The contract for paving went to Yarbs in the amount of 28 million. So that's going to happen. That bid has been awarded and Golden State's going to get repaved from Fowler to Kingsburg. It's taken forever, but it's finally happening. I talked about this 10 years ago. When I ran 10 years ago, it just takes some time to get it done. And it's happening, and that's very exciting. I also attended an American Legion post-12 dinner at the Portuguese Hall. You know, I think about the veterans a lot at this time because we got holidays coming up. They're away from home. And I really thank the veterans for everything they're doing. And Veterans Day is always near and dear to my heart for that reason. I attended a Council of Governments meeting, and I also attended a Fresno County Rural Transit Agency meeting at the FCRTA, the Selma Maintenance Facility, which is another good thing that's happening for our community. It's going to be constructed. It's an $11 million facility. That'll be constructed in March of 2023. Selma received a grant, the FCRTA received a grant of $422,000 for an inductive charging station. So that's great. More charging stations, better for the environment. And I think that's really important. I want to thank staff also, Miriam and Tiffany, for filling in for our city clerk. Thank you for doing that tonight for the meeting. Thank you to staff, all our city manager, our directors, our chiefs. It's a tough job. And I know you do the best you can with the resources that you have, and we appreciate that. And again, you know, like I'm going to meet with Mr. Garza and with staff. My job is to be a community representative, to be your representative, and to help folks who need resources at the city level. Because how do you know, unless you do this or you work with the city, who to talk to? That's what we're here for. I think that's important. Last item, set the record straight. Council member Trujillo on social media said that I repeatedly bully the two of the females on the council. That is not true. That is a lie. And the person he was actually describing when it came to bullies of females on the council and in general would be himself. We have Mr. Trujillo on record bullying Yolanda Torres, bullying my wife, bullying Council Member Guerra, bullying members, females, and also calling me a homophobic slur from behind the comfort and safety of his dais. So I would just say, Council Member Trujillo, you're saying that you were upset as a man. I'm saying you're not a man. You're a bully and a coward, and our city can do better than you. And with that, I will go to the, you could say during public comments if you like.
You can say it right now. She could say it right now. She has the right. She has
Okay,
the right.
go ahead.
So, I mean, I can speak for myself because, I was bullied, and not just by yourself, but also by, I was being harassed as well by your wife because she filed 2 FPPC complaints, which were cleared. The other thing is that we all are public figures here, and we all need to conduct ourselves in a professional manner. And that includes when we're out in public, when we're doing, when we're, supporting at a parade, when we're doing what have you. We all need to conduct ourselves in a good manner and not be out displaying like like being bullies or being I don't even know what the words are, but I'm going to tell you that I can state for the record that yes, I was bullied. Yes, I was harassed. And so that is a fact. So when you guys are saying that there's not facts, that is facts, and I have proof of that. Thank you.
I'd like to also state that I witnessed it. And I think it's time for us to put all this aside. But at the same time, you keep on bringing it up, Mr. Mayor.
You keep on making your social media attacks on me, sir. I'm going to respond every time you lie about me.
Mr. Mayor, we have people on Facebook that are yelling at people. So people are saying that you're yelling at them. So I just ask you, it needs to stop.
Okay. Last time for oral communications. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say?
I believe this is when we propose stuff, right? Just want to make sure. Yeah. I want to propose an investigation of Second Chance Animal Shelter staff in order to confirm staff has the proper training and to ensure the safety of not just our pets, but our family.
Okay, thank you. I believe Councilmember Trujillo asked for that to be an agenda item in the future. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, it's up to the city manager when the actual agenda item gets scheduled.
Yeah, well, it'll be posted on an upcoming agenda. I can't promise, because of the length of a potential investigation, but we'll let the community know.
And you can always call me and I can let you know what's going to be on the agenda. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Shar Tucker, and tonight I represent Selma Rotary. And I just wanted to come tonight and thank each and every one of the staff members that work so hard in helping Selma Rotary keep the street safe, our participants, and the thousands of people that came into town. It is just, and sitting around the table during, I think, the last week with all the department heads trying to figure out the best way to, make everybody safe. And it's just great to see everybody work so hard together to make such an event a success. And I thank City Council for coming out and being a part of that. But again, on behalf of Selma Rotary, we thank the City of Selma. We can never thank you enough. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Jasmine Plaza, 2426 Chaparral Lane. I just wanted to come on here and say thank you, Mayor and City Council members who voted yes to not put a moratorium on the pop-ups. It means on behalf of myself and the small business community, thank you guys very, very much. Thank you.
Hi, Teresa Sala, 1701 Dainewa Avenue. I've been there for 2 years and I still don't remember my address. Tomorrow is election day. So I want to encourage everyone who hasn't mailed in their ballot already to vote. And in that line, I have a complaint. You all know that I'm running for a seat on the council, and I approached the city about having an event. It was going to be held on private property. I had the owner's permission to do that. I approached the city to find out if I needed to have some kind of a permit to do that. I was going to have one microphone, and my brother was going to maybe play on his guitar if we wanted him to. But basically, it was just a meet and greet for myself. Nobody else was going to be involved. And I was told I had to have an event permit, that it had to have been 60 days in advance. It was hundreds of dollars plus a sound permit. And it didn't happen. I have talked to some people who have had their pop-up events, and they had less that they had to do for a pop-up event that involved lots of people, that involved microphones and music and DJs that, I mean, are loud. So I'm just very disappointed that that wasn't able to happen for me, which is why I supported some kind of a, not a moratorium, but some kind of a pause in the pop-ups to give the city a chance to get these regulations in line. Because one person wanted to do something and I was told I wasn't able to do that. Somebody else was told, oh yeah, all you need is a $25 permit and you can have your event. And I just feel like that was just totally not fair. But anyway, don't forget to vote.
Thank you.
On behalf, I'm sorry, Isaac Garza, 12511 South Mitchell Avenue. On behalf of your guys' elections, I am allowing everybody to post on my social media page, which is News Around Selma TM. So you get your chance to actually say, hey, I'm voting, I'm going up for mayor, or whatever it might be for the city council board. You get your opportunity there. And there's over 20,000 people on the page. I'm almost at 23, which is where I want to get. But besides that, I want to just come to an understanding about December 16th that I'm going to get a phone call of some sort, or with my event that I'm going to be doing. I didn't really clear that up in my head.
I believe so. You're going to get contacted by the city manager for a potential meeting to
Okay.
get this.
If you wouldn't mind sticking around after the meeting so we can get your contact
Most
information.
definitely. That's why I've been waiting. I'm hungry. I just got it out of work and I came straight over here. So
Thank you.
thank
Didn't
you.
take long. Thank you. Anybody else?
Adjourn.
1057 Mill Street. I think Councilmember Blanca Mendoza Navarro's confused with being bullied. Because election, you say whatever you need to say. At the end of the day, we citizens have every right to come up here and state if we're happy or not on where our taxpayer money is going. And when you spend over $50,000 of our taxpayer money to allow other attorneys to go represent you on something I feel that had anything to do with the citizens taxpayer to defend you, you should have just not showed up for court and you would have been fine if you would have did some serious searching. And I think you want to be an attorney. So you should have looked into that first of all. And I think at the end of the day, the citizens of Selma do watch the YouTube meetings and they know exactly who's the bullying up there. So video does not lie. And also what I like to say is, we were always in Salinas As you know, that was one of our secondary homes there. And we lived right by a little elementary school, and they had no problems for years and years. They had rubber stopping, what would you call those bumps? They were rubber to help. Every elementary school in Salinas had them, and they helped every time. Let me tell you, nobody was speeding around those elementary schools, and we lived right by them and we watched them. So maybe if the city can look into and this is why it's very important to have meetings with the school district and the city and the healthcare district and the cemetery district, so we could see how we could help each other in something very important. And I agree with her. We shouldn't have to wait for any of our kids to get killed when we could just get some rubber stomps or whatever they're called. I don't know what they're called, but Salinas has tons of them. So hopefully somebody could get that on the agenda, since there's a lot of money going out here at the city, spending lots of our city taxpayer money. We should at least look into something to that effect to help with the speeders. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Anita Gonzalez. I live at 2743 Sierra Madre. You guys need to think about it. It's not your kids that happened. It happened to my granddaughter. You know, and Eva too. They were going to the football game. They were all happy. And look what happens. The lady didn't see the pressing line. Whatever she pressed, she was going 35 or 40. She is so lucky my granddaughter did not die. You guys need to do something. It's just not for my grandkid, my granddaughter and her friend, for all the kids I am fighting for. It's not just them. Please open your eyes before something major happens. And I appreciate you guys listening to me. I'm a shy person. It took me a lot of guts to get up here. But it's for my granddaughter. You guys don't know. She's in pain. She lost her memory. She's getting it back. I'll tell you what, she has a broken wrist. This is broken, 2 ribs. You guys don't see the pain she's going through, and me. I cry, I wish it was me instead of her. But open your eyes. I park over there, I still see people going fast over there. You know, I volunteered at India for 5 years. I didn't get paid. I didn't want that. I did it for all the kids. It's ugly over there too. It's all the schools. I go check them out. It's all the schools, not just the high school. You guys need to open your eyes. Please do something. Those things out there are not helping. I park over there and I see the cars go fast. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for coming up here, but it's painful to see my granddaughter like that. She was on Oprah, those strong pills because of the pain. And I have pictures if you guys like to see it, but I'm not gonna let you guys see, but open your eyes, please. Thank you, I appreciate it.
The old man again. 1701 Dinuba, Jim Avalos. First, I want to thank the guys that did the blood drive in our community. Thank you, guys. The reason why I'm thanking you guys, without that blood drive, I wouldn't be here. Mr. Avalos wouldn't be here. You know, a long time ago, before I became the mayor, about 3 weeks before I came, I was in the hospital bleeding out. I was a dead man. I was counted out. And thanks good for the people that gave me blood. I'm back. Avalos is back. You know, with the God Almighty up there. You always have somebody watching over you, and it's true. But also issue 2 is on the safety issue of this child back over here, these kids. I think we should look at, see if we have any safety money, but also work with the school district on the issue of safety, not just, you know, like she made a good point, as far as the safety for all kids in every school district, they need the assistance of safety. And maybe we should put some, maybe the school district could fund some money, put to some of these meter signs like I see in Fresno. There's when the school's an event going on, they have a meter sign that says, hey, be cautious, slow down, pedestrians in the area, kids in the area, stuff like that to their flashing lights. There's an old saying, what price to save a life? You know what I mean? You stop and think about that, you know, because it could have been anybody's child out there. And the reason why I say that, look at the victim, Melissa, when we lost her, you know, we couldn't find her. And God graces, Rudy tracked her down. Thank you, Rudy, for doing that. Thank you. You know, blank closure to the family. I very thank you for that. And the other issue is this is our community. This is where we live, guys. We got to make it safe, not only for the kids, but also for the seniors. We got to think of both of them. They're a part of our society. Okay. If we don't make it for safe, either one, we're in trouble. Thank you. Thank you.
Is 3761 Wright Street. Yes, absolutely right. We do need those speeders stopped. We are a victim in April. We live on Wright Street, so it was on Wright and Tammy Lane. So a block away, you can see the skid marks. They were doing donuts in the residential area. There is a key where the houses are at. It's a key, and they were doing donuts. 9 o'clock at night. All I heard was zzz. I couldn't even look out the window because all I saw was dust and the smell of burnt rubber. Well, the young man underage turned around, tried to make the turn on Wright Street, went straight into our driveway and into our office. I was in the kitchen. So I was in the kitchen here, doorway, and then the other room. If you would have turned a little bit to the right, he would have pinned me in the kitchen. I wouldn't be here right now. If my grandkids came on time to have dinner with us that night, because we're going to have dinner, they would have killed them on that walkway. If they would have hit the curve the wrong way, it was a convertible, soft top, they would have flipped over and I would have had 2 dead teenagers in my front yard. So it's critical. We need to get that stopped. Her granddaughter's in pain, but she's alive. What happened to the next kid? What happened to the other homeowners? Thompson, someone speeded on that street and they hit the cement wall. If that cement wall wasn't there, that car would have went right into that residential home. So it's a must. We have to take care of it. Yes, all these parties should contribute and get that straightened out. These are our kids. This is our future. These are their lives and our lives too. You know, if we lose our children, our part of our life is dead. No one can replace our kids. Thank you.
Kids are not data. Kids are real lives and we need to protect them. And people speed around those schools. We hear it all the time.
So Mark Medina, 3761 Wright Street. And yeah, just continuing what she said, we do need to work at it. We do need to make sure it's safer. There are these things that happen. It wasn't just our house, wasn't just the house on the other side of the block on Thompson, but there have been other instances in the past that we've seen this. I remember in high school, we used to have kids who had close calls crossing right there in front of the high school and the back of the high school. We have to look at it as a community and come together and figure out a solution. And we will. Now, aside from that, it is election season. Tomorrow's the big day. Everyone's running for it. Congratulations to all of you who are running. And, hope for the best, plan for the worst. But more importantly, there is one thing I want to say. As a community, we have to put our best foot forward. With that in mind, the bickering in the city council, just like with any other council, we have to keep a professional decorum. Now, I've heard both sides of the coin, and I've seen the attacks on either side. Okay. And I know all of you for a long time. Well, most of you. Some of you I pretty got to know a little bit. And I know your personalities and I know your hearts. I know deep down inside you're all good people. But you also have to keep in mind that we are public servants. Our job is to serve this community. Our job is to do what's best for them. Now, we won't always agree, and we won't always, come to a consensus. I think I just said the same thing twice. But in the end, our decorum, our attitude, and our professional demeanor is what matters. We see it at the national level where people are throwing negative ads at each other left and right. And in the end, it doesn't bring us any good. We pick from the least the least evil that we can pick from. We shouldn't have that here. We don't need that here. We're too small of a town to deal with mudslinging. And we're too small of a town to deal with big egos. Finally tired. Tone that ego down, get to the grindstone, and do what needs to be done as a community. Now, I'm not just talking City Hall, I'm talking everybody that's in charge. We all have a responsibility. That's what we're here for. These people elected us. These people will kick us out if we don't do the job right. Doesn't matter how much money we spend, doesn't matter how much time we go on social media, doesn't matter what we say or how much we throw mud at each other. This is the job. Just want to remind everybody that all the candidates, all those who are elected, all those who didn't have to compete against anybody. This is our job. We serve them. They're our boss. We need to give them what they deserve, respect.
Thank you. Any more comments? Anybody on Zoom would like to make a comment? Ms. Torres, I know she said she couldn't get on initially. Okay.
Caller, if you could press *6 to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. Yolanda Torres, 2266 Mitchell Avenue. Yeah, I couldn't get in at the beginning of the meeting. So what I wanted to say was on behalf of Mr. Carrillo, I think the city really needs to work with him to resolve this matter regarding the fireworks citation. And I think it should be hopefully a recommendation to just waive his fee. I know that when this was brought up at a meeting before, certain city council members picked and choose who they wanted to waive their citations for, which I don't think was fair. I know Mr. Carrillo and Mr. Gary Marshall, the owner of Video World, did not have their citations waived. They were still expected to pay. So I don't understand where that came from and why only certain people got to get their citations waived. But to Mr. Carrillo, who has to now go to legal representation to get this matter resolved, I think that's just a little bit too far. And I really hope that the city manager can work with him to just consider waiving the fee and getting this matter resolved, because we don't need any more legal issues within our city. So I really hope that that can be considered. And I wish everybody the best of luck come election. And I hope that the people who do go in and do get voted in make a change for the people, for our community, and we continue on a positive note. So thank you all so much. Have a good night.
Anybody else? Motion to adjourn
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
or adjourn?